GEGP.
Ray is still catching his breath from yesterday. You know what I like? I like that everyone else loves the receiver class.
He has been damn near unstartable for 2 years, and you keep jamming him in your lineup.
Here's the kicker, Ray.
The offensive line was a wreck. They don't have a lot of weapons out there.
I'm clueless at how to get this data. I just send him a message like, hey, can you pull like this for me and just send me a spreadsheet so I can look at it? GEGP, good evening, DD fam, DD members. It is Sunday, August 10th, 2025. Destination Chill is back. We've been here the last couple weeks, last couple shows, but they have been solo with either Ray or I. But we are back together, Ray, after a month of July that I think both of us would like to forget. But we're here in the midst of the first week of preseason. There's a lot to talk about from a dynasty perspective, from a real football perspective. Very blessed with a new outlook back for Destination Chill this evening. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm excited, man. Yeah, July, a month I think both of us could leave back in July of 2025, but coming out of it and excited to be back on the show with you. Like you said, I did one solo when you were out. You did one solo when I was out, but this show was designed and it's best, it's best when we're together. So it's good to be back, and fortunately for us, we got real football. We got real information. We've got stuff that we can act upon. I think now, from a dynasty perspective, it's being able to enjoy what we've seen and what we saw and some of the takes that we may have had throughout the offseason, but not overreact to it. And I know you're going to hear that a ton. Don't overreact, don't overreact. Listen, I think some things you need to react to. I do think there's some things after week one of preseason we should react to, but the key is, balancing how much of that you want to take in and actually deploy and act upon it, or how much of it are you just sort of filing away in the memory bank. And that's what I wanted to kind of start this episode by asking you is, we are rolling out. I think that's it. We just finished up LAC, New Orleans, or it's about to be over. So preseason week one is in the books. Scott, 25 season is underway. What is one player, a situation, something that you are either bullish about, bearish about, excited about? What's a player or a situation that you are on notice with here coming out of week one?
Yeah, when you asked this question, I had to rack my brain. There's been so much that's happened. And one of the most enjoyable things, Ray, about playing Dynasty now, having a community like we do, being able to come on here and just talk with you. I mean, that's what we made this show for, so you and I can just talk. We probably don't do it enough inside the Discord anymore. We got to start doing that more regularly. But just every game, every play, every highlight, it all creates a narrative somewhere, right? There's a push and a pull somewhere. Positive, negative. So that's the most fun about preseason hitting. Even though the games mean nothing, the scores mean nothing, very little takeaway other than just individual narratives that we can craft based on. And sometimes they're all just generated by social media. People take something and run with it, and all of a sudden the narrative in Dynasty is totally different than what it was last week. But I have two situations that I think we got a little, maybe more clarity on, or maybe a little more murkiness. I'm trying to decide, so I want to get your opinion on these two situations. But two of the toughest receiver rooms for me to decipher. We play a lot of underdog. We play a lot of best ball. And both of these teams have quarterbacks that I've always been able to just take the quarterback, and you know what? There's many options that I can stack with later. And that's the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers, right? When in doubt, you can take both of those quarterbacks and go, there's 4 or 5 guys later that I can just tack on, and I feel like I got some correlation. I feel like I got a stack. And I don't have to decide in round 8 if I have to get the stack now. I can take the quarterback wherever Nix goes, wherever Bryce Young goes a little bit later. There's options that I can stack on later. And I think I've taken damn near every one of them at least once, twice, 5 times, 10 times, whatever that might be. But I think those two situations, we got a little clarity, right? They used Marvin Mims like he was the second receiver, and then all of the other 3 look like it's still going to be up in the air in terms of the pecking order between Pat Bryant, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, et cetera. They also have Trent Sherfield, which, that's a guy you don't want to play, but I digress. But I think we got some clarity that I was not drafting Marvin Mims because I'm like, dude, what's the difference between him and Vele, him and Franklin, right? But maybe this is one where you have to go, okay, what did the team tell us in week 1? They used him just like Cortland Sutton. He was a starter, didn't come off the field, and then he was done. And then all those other guys rotated in the rest of the game. So there's that one. But then the Panthers, I don't know about you Friday night, Ray. Everyone was watching Shadore, but all I saw was a bunch of Jalen Coker highlights. And a lot of people going, man, he's better than Leggett. Leggett's a bum. Adam Thielen's only playing in certain packages. He needs to get out of the way. They have Hunter Renfrow there. They have Jimmy Horn there. That was one where I think I've clicked almost all of those guys at least once. But I'm kind of thinking, okay, maybe it's Jalen Coker. If there's a guy that can be an upward moving asset, that maybe he's not a starter from day one, but if you told me middle of the season, he's a guy people are paying a second for, because he's got a 5.5 Trinity and he's clearly the number 2 receiver on the team, I think I can buy it. And a lot of people out there are saying it, so it makes me think, okay, maybe I have to respect him as the potential number 2 option. Not that old Leggett. Nobody likes him. All he did was get in the fight. You know what I mean? Nobody cares about him anymore. Coker's better than Leggett, and he should be ahead of him. So those are the 2 for me that maybe we have a little more clarity, and I think I can place my chips a little stronger than I would have before week 1 of the preseason.
Okay. I like both of those calls. I definitely had not been prioritizing Jalen Coker anywhere. As much as I may try to acquire him a little bit this week, especially in some of the seasonal best ball leagues. Dynasty, you think he's a buy? Just in general, in the grand scheme of things, is that a player that you would want to acquire in a package deal? I'm not going to say ISO buy, but is he somebody you would like to acquire?
Yeah, I think he fits into and we can probably do some future shows during the season when we do some Trinity talking about like how do these players actually fit into a dynasty team or a lineup. Like, I think he's one of those guys where if I'm in a best ball league, if I'm in a start 11 league, we have a lot of listeners that play in those types of leagues. And so he would be viable as a guy I would want to get thrown into a deal there. But I also think that even in a lineup league, he's one of those that if you have room to be able to use him when he has that window of production that we can maybe forecast could come, you want to be able to make sure that you can either use him for that. But I also think that there's potential that he's a guy you could buy for, and I don't even want to put a pick price. A lot of times people will ask what's a player worth, and they'll want you to say a second or a third. Like, a lot of times those are very binary, right? Like, if you're dealing in picks and players, then it's either a second or a third. There's no in between. So I think he's a player that I want to get because I do think there's going to be a window where he's viewed more so than what he is right now, which is still just, a late prospect that no one really knew of until they heard of him last year. But I think there's going to be a window. I think there will be a window where you can go, you know what, I can flip him for something better than what I acquire him for today. So yeah, I think both. But if you're going to buy him for, like, I'm going to put in my lineup, you just got to have a plan of either direction. It's either I'm going to buy him to flip him, or I'm going to buy him to put him into this spot, and I'm going to trade someone else to vacate that spot. So that's how I'm playing it.
All right, Scott, I got 2 for you as well. I've got one situation and one player. What do you want, my situation or player first? And both of these I'm going to be negative Nancy. So both of these are a little bit of, I'm just monitoring these moving forward. You want the situation or you want the player first?
Let's go the situation because the player will probably lead us into some more maybe negative player specifics. Let's go situation first.
Situation that I am monitoring. I don't want to overreact, but this is one where I think we were already a little weary on it going into the season, and nothing that happened last night makes me feel any more confident. It's the Green Bay Packers passing attack. I am very much concerned. We saw Jordan Love go out there, and he played a little bit, and he didn't look good. He didn't get help from a lot of his pass catchers. I know, he didn't have his full allotment of guys out there, but Matthew Golden was out there. No Josh Jacobs, but I'm looking at this offense, and Christian Watson is hurt. You see Jaden Reed walking around in a boot. Matthew Golden looked fine. He was matched up against Sauce Gardner. The Jets had a lot of their ones out there, but it looked it did not look crisp at all for a quarterback going into his, third year starting in Green Bay. And Yeah, I think expectations are still high for this offense in general. Josh Jacobs being the hammer in the backfield. I'll just 1 for 5 for Love. It didn't look good. He didn't get help. Malik Heath dropped the ball, but this is an offense that a lot of people are trying to figure out what they really want to do with these pass catchers. Do you just take the lowest common denominator, which at most times is Romeo Doubs much later, or is this something you just want to stay away from? So I'll say Green Bay, that situation is one that I'm watching going into week 2. And a player, man, I'm a little disappointed because I was very high on this rookie, Scott, and he was drafted in a range that matters. He's on a team that we really like. Caleb Johnson looks slow. I mean, of all the high-end rookie running backs, I don't care how many carries Travion Henderson had. You know what I cared about? How fast he looked on the kick return. I'm like, okay, that's a guy that I could see being explosive, ripping off long plays. RJ Harvey, same thing. We saw explosiveness from Harvey. I'm not worried about Ashton Genty. We saw Tootin get in the end zone. We saw Kyle Monungai look good. Scott, I'm watching today. I'm looking at Ollie Gordon from the Dolphins. He looked like he had more juice than Caleb Johnson. And I just want to read you this quote from one of the beat reporters from Pittsburgh. I really, really like Nick Farbaugh at FarbaughFB on Twitter. He said, okay, I've watched Caleb Johnson's snaps, and this quote sticks out even more after watching it. When asked on what he wanted to improve upon next week, just going out there and playing faster. I thought there was some good, but he did look like a rookie adjusting the NFL speed, in my opinion. It just did not look good. He looked quite slow out there for a player that we're assuming could be this next feature back in Pittsburgh. He's a clear upgrade over Najee Harris. Week 1, he didn't do it for me. So I want to see a little bit more out of Caleb Johnson. So those are my 2 sort of icebreaker topics: the Green Bay Packers passing attack, and then Caleb Johnson running the ball. And we didn't see Jaylen Warren, which makes me feel even better about him moving forward going into the season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start with Green Bay. Like, that was one where the Reed injury kind of pushed Golden up like around in the last week. You know what I mean? Like, he is easily now cleared all of those. I mean, anybody that's drafted a lot of best ball, there's a range of receivers right now where it's like there's like 6 straight injured dudes. And you just look at you look at the queue, and it's just like, which injured guy do you want to take? You know, is it Shakir? Is it Godwin? Is it Ayuk? And you're just like, nah. Jaden Reed, nah. But I'm kind of with you, Ray. Like, the Packers passing game, I talked about it in the offseason a lot. They played super slow last year. Now, they were a good passing attack, but they were bottom of the league in neutral pass rate, and everyone has kind of excused that away. I've listened to some shows the last couple weeks, and more people are going, oh, I'm high on Jordan Love. I'm getting a little bit more interested in getting Jordan Love just because, I mean, things can't be what they were last year. But what if we go into the season and it's like, because I haven't, and maybe you've heard differently, but I've kind of been a little going out of my way to really figure out, like, okay, is there a role for Dontavian Wicks? What are they saying about Romeo Doubs? Is he going to be what he's always been the last couple of years? And I haven't even heard a lot of great stuff about those two, but clearly they're going to play. You know what I mean? They're going to be Nats. And then you have this single first-round pick in Matthew Golden that I think, if things continue as they are, it's like everyone's going to raise him up and, you know, pump him up as something that maybe he isn't going to be. And maybe it's just this offense, the way that it's designed, until they find what that is. It's just going to be 5 pass catchers and Josh Jacobs. And maybe it is just Josh Jacobs for the first month of the season until they really figure something out. I don't know. But it makes me sit there and go, I know that they have a tight end that is good. Maybe he's not elite. Maybe he's not great, but he's good. And then I know they have at least 2 receivers that we're not even really wanting that much that are going to play. You know what I mean? Like, Wicks may leave a lot to be desired, but you're going to look up at the end of the year and he got 55 targets and he had 35 catches for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that's production that if Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed were what they're drafted to be, he wouldn't get that. You know what I mean? Like, that gets eliminated in other offenses. And I just kind of have this fear that you're going to look up. I mean, what do you think Jordan Love throws for this year? If he got to 4,200 yards, I'd say that's really cooking. You know what I mean?
I mean, that'd be outstanding. If he got to 4,200 yards with that receiving room, that'd be great.
Right. but start then splitting out even the pedestrian expectations for all of these other pieces, and then you're left with the 2 or 3 guys that you want to actually draft, and you go, man, this feels, you know what they were last year, Ray? They were the Ravens and the Eagles offense. That's how they played.
Yeah.
But we don't treat them like that. We excuse the Ravens and Eagles away like it's Lamar, it's Hurts. They don't throw a ton. You know they're going to run. You know their running back's going to eat a certain amount of work. We're not drafting 5 pass catchers from both of those teams. But here with the Packers, you're like, man, I just want some clarity here. So I'm kind of with you. I want to see more, and it sucks because Reed's injured.
Yeah.
So all the same narratives are he's not going to play in these sets.
Well, he was already reports where he was already clearly the slot. Like he wasn't playing outside. Right. He wasn't playing X. He's not. It's Dobbs on one side. It's Golden on the other. Reed is the slot guy. Now he's the slot guy with a foot injury, and we know how frustrating that usage was last year. This is a lot of reports are the Green Bay offensive line also is not an encouraging sight right now. So this is just one where it's, you know, as we get closer, like I really don't know what to do, Scott. And I always tell you, I will never draft anybody. I don't want any of those guys. It's just at cost. Like, how much do I want to pay for that Matthew Golden? How good do I feel about Jaden Reed, you know, moving forward at cost? And I did want to throw out one more name. I want to throw out one positive name because I was negative Nancy. Positive name from a dynasty perspective. You know who I want to go get this week, Scott? Because it still feels like the performance, as good as it was, it's flying under the radar because we all know he's not going to start. I don't think it's a probably about it. He's not going to start the season. Very impressed with Jackson Dart, man. Very impressed with Jackson Dart. And more importantly, his ability to run the ball. Like, this is a guy who can pick up yards with his legs, and then he's tethered to what's going to be a very good defensive line, which could give him some advantageous field position. He's got Malik Neighbors. You've got a decent rushing attack. There are some pieces around. I like Jackson Dart. Like, he's one of the quarterbacks, super flex dynasty. I wouldn't mind trying to grab right now before he gets in and starts. Like, I'm fine with a speculative buy of Jackson Dart. Very impressed. Preseason week 1, I'll say this. I feel better about his fantasy range of outcome than I do Shadore's right now at this point in time. And I love Shadore Sanders. But if you're telling me one for fantasy, I'm probably taking Jackson Dart. Very impressed week 1, his performance.
Yeah, I think for that, it comes down to how much do you trust the coach? How much do you trust that offense? Because they have a lot of targets that should be easy for Jackson Dart to get things going between the running backs that can both catch, Wandale, Theo Johnston, Malik Neighbors. Like, he shouldn't have a problem going out there, and maybe it looks a little bit like what Denver looked like last year. Like, you would hope that's like the best case scenario towards the second half of the year. I did a poll last night. I'm curious, Ray, how do you get Jackson Dart? Because obviously the person that got him took him in the first. They probably didn't take him to start, but they've probably already parked him knowing, okay, he's not going to start right away. But I did a poll last night. Who do you prefer, Jared Goff or Jackson Dart straight up? And it was 3-1 Jared Goff. And Jared Goff has not had any sort of ADV or excitement or anything for years. Now, he's been productive, but he's kind of just what he is. You know what I mean? Like, the fear of doing a deal like that is you trade Jared Goff for Jackson Dart and a little plus, and Jackson Dart completely busts, and then you lose a quarterback. But if you're confident that he's got the infrastructure and he looks good, then I think that's a deal where if you can make one of those types of deals, I mean,
Scott, I'm not even confident in that. Here's what I am confident in. He's going to get an opportunity this year, and he's probably going to get an opportunity coaching be damned next season. He was drafted in round 1. Even if it's a Davis Mills ceremonial season start, I'm confident he'll play this year, and I'm confident he'll get an opportunity next year. And within that 20-month time period, there's so many different windows and ebbs and flows in Dynasty. What's the plus? If you're telling me I can move, if I am a non-competing team, you know, you see a lot of these rebuilding teams, Scott, or these, I'm a couple of years away, I'm a year away. And what ends up happening in the startup, they bypass, if they bypass one of the elite quarterbacks, they're like, I got to get somebody, right? I've got to get some stability. And then they end up with Dak, Baker, Jared Goff, these kind of older quarterbacks who still probably have years left, but the ADV and the dynasty allure are gone. They draft them, so they've got some security at that position. If I'm not trying to win now and my team is set up to be a contender later on, I'm rebuilding. It's filled with youth. I've got no problem moving damn Jared Goff for Jackson Dart, who's a first-round pick. I'm going to get a window and a plus. Like, that's a move I would absolutely be making depending on the direction of my squad.
Yeah, and a reason that I like it is, first of all, he's not going to be asked to start day one, where the season could go off the rails and then it could be a complete disaster, right? Like, you have to hope at least Russell Wilson can, and I know they have a real tough schedule, I think, to start the year. They have like 6 of their 8 toughest games in the first half of the year. But Jackson Dart's going to have a chance to play his way off of the temptation for competition right next year. You know, if he goes out there and he starts 9 games and he goes 0-9, well, then they're probably pretty bad, and there's a world where he's replaced. But if he goes out there and he just goes 3-5, you know what I mean? And he gets them in a range where they're not tempted to go, you know what? We're not picking in the top 3, the top 4. Now, if they're picking 12th, you may say, okay, I like the quarterback 4 next year better than Jackson Dart, but rarely does a team go, we're going to replace a non-elite, highly drafted quarterback with another guy. You know what I mean? So, like, odds are they would give him another year, barring they're not picking in the top 3 or top 5. So you're kind of doubling down on your bet. If you trade for him, you're also betting that he plays well enough at the end of the year to stave off that scary window where, oh man, because if they're picking in the top 3, right, I don't want to be holding the Jackson Dart in January, because it's just going to be, man, they're going to trade up. They're going to go get this guy. You know what I mean? But let me ask you this. If you have a quarterback situation where you do have a fairly strong anchor quarterback, are you willing to tear off that QB2 almost no matter who it is? Somebody like, I mean, Goff's an obvious one, but let's go a little bit higher. I'll give you not a first, but I'll give you a starting caliber, like flex type receiver for Jackson Dart, and you have to give me this receiver. So I'll give you like, trying to find a decent one that probably fits this. I'll give you Chris Olave and Jackson Dart for Baker Mayfield. You taking the Dart side?
And I've got a hammer at quarterback at the top.
Yeah, you got a guy ahead of the QB2 that you're trading.
That yes. I'm trading away.
Or a similar guy. You have like
a similar guy. Yeah,
I think a Kyler or a Brock Purdy or someone where you don't care which one you trade, but you have another adequate one where you're not.
I would entertain it.
Screwed.
I would entertain it. Okay. I would entertain it.
And there's a million guys in there. I mean, we saw a bunch of trades the other night on Dynasty Deal Show, like Justin Herbert. People are panicking because he lost his left tackle. But he's still got this like dynasty allure. You know what I mean? You hear the name Justin Herbert and you're like, oh man, he's QB 10.
The top quarterback.
Then you really examine, why the hell is he QB 10? You know what I mean? Like, does it have to be the 4th straight year where he doesn't outscore all these other guys that are way lower than him? I mean, but that's one. CJ Stroud. I mean, I like Stroud, but I'm not sweating if I was able to get a second asset. But I think you can try those deals. And because it's a process, right? Like the second piece has to be worth the while. But as long as your quarterback room is built, and maybe it's even a luxury where you have a third hanging around there, you have like, I don't know, a Flacco or an Aaron Rodgers or somebody just to get you by. Like you may look up in 6 months and you go, Jackson Dart is in the same tier as Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and all it takes is 3 or 4 good games, and they're like, dude, he's got Malik Neighbors. You know what I mean? And that's all the story that needs to be told.
Listen, I'm just watching what he did and taking everything with a grain of salt. He went out there and executed his assignment. He did his job, showed his arm talent. It wasn't perfect, but I just think there's some. I'm looking right here. We got a couple of members. Shout out to everybody who's a member, man. If you're a member of DDFFB, much love. Appreciate you. We released, I think I put the Trinity show out early for you guys to see it. And we got a couple of people in the building now. Just want to acknowledge Lawrence is in the chat. He said, I'm a little behind on the stream, but fully agree with Green Bay and Caleb takes. I got a ton of Caleb, and I'm stressing. And then Cash Me Out said, I sent DJ Moore for Jackson Dart and Pop Douglas in a 14 by 11 in a week ago. So he moved off of DJ. I mean, hell, this is a very good deal right here, Scott. He got Jackson Dart and Pop Douglas for DJ Moore.
You know why I like that? First of all, it's a 14-teamer, so I would take Jackson Dart over a guy like DJ Moore no matter what, straight up. But then in a 14 by 11, I bet you Pop Douglas is right on the fringe of like, you got to start him too.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm not saying he outproduces DJ Moore, but if you told me he gives me 75% of DJ Moore and he's a top 45 receiver, something like that, I wouldn't shock me. It's like, it's weird that you actually got the plus on you got like a third at least thrown into this deal.
I think there are a lot of people who still don't buy it, man. It's the Giants. He's not going to play.
That's what it is. That it's just it with the Giants and the Jets and the Browns. I swear you can always buy the dip on the jersey, Ray. Yeah. Just the franchise, you know what I mean? Until people see a success story from those teams, they're just going to assume everything they touch is going to bust.
It's just
injured,
bust.
Suck. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why I think you can still buy Shadore. Because
talk about Shadore. Because it is no secret how bullish I was on him pre-draft, right? I had him as my top-ranked quarterback. Everybody in the world thought he would go somewhere in round 1, even not if in the top 5. He falls to round 5. I just wrote an article for Yahoo talking about Shadore, and you couldn't have asked for a better start. But do we not forget that in order for a traditional pocket passer to really be fantasy relevant, you got to be 4,035. I mean, you've got to really be a difference-making type quarterback. I mean, Kirk Cousins was doing that for you. You've got to be that dynamic of a thrower of the football. The situation is ass in Cleveland. Like, there's the weaponry around whomever's at quarterback does not look conducive for that type of environment. And as much as we might like him, I just have a very tough time seeing him navigate through 3 other quarterbacks to start the season out as the guy. And even if he does, Scott, Cleveland probably is not going to be very good next year. I don't know how long of a leash you think Kevin Stefanski is going to have, but it feels like in Cleveland, it's just such an uphill battle for him to truly be fantasy relevant. Like, you would plug him into any part of your lineup. And I love him. I just feel like this is just such a bad situation for him. I'm rooting for him, but we're talking fantasy production. Why the hell am I trying to buy Shadore?
Well, let's break it down because I agree with you from all of those angles. The one thing that I think, well, there's 2 things. It's, like it or not, the Stefanski system has been pretty friendly. Just the way that they play. They run a lot of plays. They have a high pass rate. Like, those are things that would be conducive if Shadore was the guy or he got a long opportunity or a long leash. Those are the things that you would at least want for a non-mobile quarterback, right? So there's that. The second thing is I think we've already seen it. I mean, did you see the crowd in Carolina? I mean, it was like the most buzzworthy crowd that we've probably had in Carolina in a while for a 5th-round rookie on the opposing team. I mean, there's serious steam with him. Now, everything else you can go is unpredictable in terms of they have 2 firsts next year. They're not that good. It's the freaking Browns, Ray. So you can just never, even if they hit on a lottery ticket, scratch it off and it's a winner, you can't even count on them getting that ticket like back to the counter to cash without losing it
to cash
it or whatever. So even if they hit on gold, are they going to have the foresight to go, okay, we're committing to him? I mean, you could sell the story that if he looks good, they're good enough to escape getting like the number 1 pick next year. And then you go, damn, the Browns have 2 first-round picks. They're going to draft him a weapon and a tackle and then give him another year.
But
and then
Scott, he's got to play. He's got to be on the field early.
Listen, I'm painting the positive. But then I'm going to get to the negative because you started it out by saying you were bullish. You love Shadore. But don't you think that was a little bit, the expectations there were a little bit reset when basically he just got completely shit on during the draft process? And now it's like you can still be right about Shadore, about how he was better than everybody said, and we don't know why he fell, but it obviously wasn't because Dylan Gabriel's a superior player, etc. But you can also say, you know what? We talked about it in voice chat the other night. You can also love Shadore and say, you know what? If someone offers me a second, I'm out. Someone offers me a second in a running back, I'm out. I mean, dude, we're seeing people in the Discord getting a first. So it's like, if you just step away from your bias that you probably, because I know you have tweets out there for a while before all this went down. Like, you'd probably want nothing more than old Shadore to get all the way to the top. I mean, the amount of people that would eat crow if that happened, I'm not even saying it's you versus them, but it would be enjoyable from a narrative standpoint to see that, right?
Yes.
And I'm not even a Browns fan. I hate the Browns. But I'm even sitting here going like, man, wouldn't it be ironic if this is the one thing the Browns got right at quarterback? The thing that you would applaud almost every other team that hasn't had a good quarterback since the 80s, taking different shots with all of these guys, right? Like, we don't have one, so we're going to bring in a former first rounder. We're going to bring in Joe Flacco. We're going to bring in 2 guys in the draft, and hopefully we strike gold. But all they've gotten is just shit for not doing it how they wanted to do it. So it would be very ironic if they ended up being right on the Shadore situation. You can also say all of that and go, the odds still say it's such a long shot. Just, you've gotten what you wanted. He's here. Everyone's talking about him. I can slowly exit the Shadore business and let it play out however it does.
Let me just ask you, Scott, because you and I, when we really get on a roll, we can conspiracy theory with the best of them. Do you think they really want to admit they were wrong in drafting? Like think about how wrong that just let's take the Browns in totality. People are already pissed they traded out of Travis Hunter for Mason Graham. You saw that narrative all weekend too. Like, oh my God, we really did that, but neither here nor there. They drafted 2 running backs, one which is not under contract right now, facing legal issues. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. Do you really think the owner came out, wasn't my pick? I had nothing to do with that. That was Andrew Berry's guy. Even if Shadore is the best looking one, do you think there's any world in which he's the week 1 starter? And how much opportunity do they want to give those other quarterbacks before they're forced, in quotes, to put Shadore on Scott, it just feels like it doesn't feel like a true Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson. It doesn't feel like one of them true QB battles where this guy can emerge from the ashes and become the starter. It doesn't even feel like Jackson Dart versus Russell Wilson. It feels miles away from that even being a realistic outcome. So anybody giving up what are you hoping for in Cleveland? Because it just doesn't feel like they want to be right/wrong about this situation right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all water under the bridge, though. I don't know if the franchise really understood what type of, I don't even want to say like media frenzy or media circus, because I think they knew there would be that to an extent. But I've lived through, I live in Columbus, so I'm not in Cleveland, but everybody I know is a Cleveland fan. But I remember, Ray, this has happened in Cleveland before. And it's not Shadore. It's not the same circus of how they arrived at Shadore. But I remember 2 situations. You remember Brian Hoyer starting ahead of Johnny Manziel? And it was just, get Manziel in. Who cares? Put him in. You remember Tyrod Taylor starting over Baker Mayfield? They're going to go to Shadore. It may not be in game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, but I am very confident that when it's not Flacco anymore, they will go to Shadore. There will be pressure to just go to him, and that might be when the season is completely lost. But when that happens, though, that's going to be his window. So that's why I'm still sitting here going there is an angle that you can play this to where that is going to happen. Did you happen to see the meme where it was Gabriel and Watson on the sidelines? Did you see that one?
Yeah, and they're kind of looking like, oh man.
Gabriel's was just like, there's a caption and he's just dropping an F-bomb, and then Watson's staring off and he just says, I'm rich. Did you see that one?
Yes.
That, it's funny, but it's also literally, I can literally see this play out exactly the Browns fans love Joe Flacco. That's the funny thing. And they will toss Flacco aside in a half if it means Shadore. So that's going to happen. And you want to buy into those types of narratives, but yeah, I don't want to pay a first to speculate on that magical moment that's going to happen at some point. So it's it's been the funnest story. I never thought after the draft, with all the Mel Kiper stuff, and every show talked about this for ad nauseum for a month, I never thought we could come back around to here and it's like exciting again, but here we are.
Okay. Let me just ask you this, and let me ask it a different way, and then we can move on. Do you want him for your projected production that he's going to actually produce, or the ADV and what you can do with the asset of Shadore?
Yeah, that's where I'm with you. I think it's more of it's a stock that I know is going to have its window. You know, it's going to have its social media buzz where everybody needs a piece of it, and I want to be holding it. But no, if you hold through that window and you start talking about how, well, you know, Shadore could be, look at Flacco. He was a top 20 quarterback with the Browns. Like, Shadore can be the same thing. It's not the same infrastructure it was 2 years ago with Flacco. The line's not as good. The weapons aren't as good. The running game's not as good. I mean, everything is probably not as good. So once you, and you know the Dynasty community, Ray, you hold through that, all this happens, it's week 5, they turn to Shadore. That's going to be all we're talking about for that week, right? But then what if he goes out there and he completes 54% of his passes, he loses, throws 2 picks, takes 4 sacks, has a couple plays, but is the Dynasty community going to be really excited about that second game?
Yeah.
Or is it just going to be a bunch of, well, he's the starter, but he's a placeholder starter, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to be the starter next year, so there's very little excitement. You got to capitalize in that window. If you're not prepared to do that and you're holding through it, that's where you get in trouble.
Let me put your feet to the fire. We're going to play a little Would You Rather Shadore Sanders edition, okay? Just no analysis, just give me the player. Shadore, and we're going to start low and work our way up. Shadore Sanders or Tyler Shuck?
Oh, Shadore.
Shuck played pretty well today. Just saying. Played pretty well today. Shadore Sanders, Anthony Richardson.
Richardson.
Shadore, Sam Darnold.
Man.
Shadore, Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
Shadore, Matthew Stafford. Dynasty. We're talking dynasty here. We're talking
Shadore.
Okay.
And you know what? Now that I get back into a pure dynasty mindset, give me Shadore over Darnold too.
Okay. Shadore, I'm a dynasty. Shadore, Anthony Richardson.
I'm still going A-Rich. He's got his own angle to play. Yes, A-Rich.
I'm going up a little higher. I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I just want to make sure. Shadore Sanders or Tua in Dynasty?
I did this exact poll, and I'll still take Tua. But
okay.
It's there are people out there that voted for Shadore. It was 85-15, but there's 15% of people that are they're done with Tua. Even if he starts another 8 years, they don't want him.
They don't want him. In the final one, and he's way high in redraft. In Dynasty, Scott, Dynasty, would you rather Shadore or Fields in Dynasty? And it's not 1-for-1. If we were to construct this deal, but which QB asset would you rather have? Justin Fields or Shadore Sanders?
Fields.
Okay. All right. So it's not Shadore or Geno Smith.
He's right there with Darnold and Stafford, but I think he's viewed in a little more of a positive light. But I can still see Shadore. If I say it for those other two, I could say Shadore. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not you don't have him up in this high tier stratosphere, but this is an asset that clearly provides some flexibility, and he performed well. I'll just say all the rookie quarterbacks, Cam Ward, Shadore, Shuck, Jackson Dart, they all did what they needed to do. They played very well in the first game. And I would add Jalen Milroe in here, and Jay Rich and I kind of talked about this, but Milroe is one in the vein of a Jackson Dart. I do not believe that the Seahawks they're going to keep him parked on the bench all season. They'll have a Jalen Milroe rushing package. I fully expect if something were to happen with Darnold or something to go wrong, Drew Lock ain't it. Like, they may give Drew Lock that early season bump, as the QB2, but I also wouldn't mind getting some Jalen Milroe. And when you're looking at the rookie quarterback, it's probably the cheapest one with the most upside right now in Dynasty.
Yeah, I think Milroe versus Shadore is interesting because you're playing to the narratives on both guys. But I think, and people will misconstrue this as, oh, there's no way I would take Shadore over Matt Stafford or Sam Darnold or Geno Smith. It really comes down to, like, when you have those guys, most likely your team's already constructed a certain way where you're just willing to kind of take a little more gamble with that spot on your roster. And the same thing applies with Milroe, right? Like right now, there's going to be a window in week 2 where Milroe isn't even on the field for more than one play. And you're going, I don't even value him. And a lot of people are going to say, I'd give away that Milroe for whatever flavor of the week receivers had 2 good games, whatever one has a good Trinity score. You know, someone like Keon Coleman goes out and has a great Trinity score the first 2 weeks. Like, you'll have no problem packaging a guy like Milroe to get him. But you have to understand the type of asset you're playing. Like, Matt Stafford and Jalen Milroe are both quarterbacks, but they're not the same position for Dynasty, just like a team wouldn't say a slot receiver is the same as an X receiver. You know what I mean? They're 2 different types of bets on your roster. You know your roster. But I think there's money to be made. If you go and you look at your roster and you go, you know what? I really think Geno Smith is better than Russell Wilson. But I can play one and then I can sell the other and I can gamble on the Milroe in a second type of bet for Geno Smith, then I'm doing that because I have something I can backfill and I'll just take whatever it gives me knowing there's going to be a window down the road. So it's construction dependent, but I think you can play these types of QBs like this if you want.
All right, Scott, keeping the focus on Dynasty and preseason. There weren't a lot of veterans that were on the field. We saw a few play for a variety of series. The Bengals went out there. I don't think we need to talk about that. Burrow looked amazing. Jamar Chase doing their damn thing. You had Mahomes play a couple of plays. Let's go to Jacksonville. Can we go to Jacksonville quickly? Because I think a lot of us were very excited to see this offense, not just because Travis Hunter, but Liam Cohen, the running backs. We wanted to see the distribution. Which running back went out there first? ETN versus Bigsby versus Bichelle Tootin. You've got Travis Hunter offensively. What's he going to do on the defensive side of the ball? And we saw the offense out there. Brian Thomas get targeted. Travis Hunter, 3 targets on the first drive with the first team offense. Travis Etienne dominated the first team snaps. Talk about your feelings about anything in that offense. Are you more bullish on Hunter? I was talking with Jay Rich, man, and I'm just watching the game, and I see him playing defense, and I'm like, you know what, man? I saw Brian Thomas get destroyed on that post route. And I'm thinking, man, if that's Hunter getting 2 of those a game, then he's got to go out there and tackle damn Derrick Henry or Isaiah Pacheco. How hard? Like, let him play receiver, Scott. Like, if he's out there running around sporadically on defense, that's fine. But I'm looking at that, and he felt like a receiver to me in that game. It didn't feel like I was watching a first-round corner. Felt like I was watching a offensive weapon that wants to be deployed on the offensive side of the ball, go out there and play a little bit of corner. I feel good about Hunter. I don't think he's the one in that offense. I'm not projecting him to take over for Brian Thomas, but I from the information we got, I feel good about Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it from Devontae Adams, right? Who's basically been an Iron Man other than the concussions that he had early in his career. And what did he say? He just said, no way. There's no way you can play both ways. So I think it's natural to say, I mean, and if you start looking at the math, like everyone heard the 80% snap thing, right? And then you start looking at, I think the average number of routes run percentage for like wide receiver 2s was somewhere between like 70 and 85%. So it isn't like if he's playing a little defense and he's not playing all the snaps and then he's only running a route on, 3/4 of the snaps that he plays. Like, he's not that far behind other receivers that you expect the same thing, right? I think what's probably going to happen, the way that I'm looking at it right now, is I think we have to pump the brakes a little bit. Like, honestly, Travis Hunter's done everything you could have hoped for when you drafted him as the receiver that you took him in your rookie draft, right? But isn't it also fair to say that if you sat there and you argued that I still like Ted McMillan or even Emeka Egbuka equal or over him, I'm not going to say you're completely delusional. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's probably fair to say that I expect Travis Hunter to be a really good receiver. But remember, there were people that going, man, dude, he's better than Brian Thomas. Could be Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? And that's where I think we get in trouble, because as soon as we've accepted that, and we're going to know probably pretty quickly, okay, this dude's an offensive player. You know what I mean? Once he's past all of that speculation, then you really have to evaluate. And this is something I talked about a little bit earlier this year. Like, it's very hard for a guy like Brian Thomas to live up to what he is expected to do, and Travis Hunter to have comps to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't see a lot of offenses that have two guys that are like that. They have to be so good that I kind of feel like Travis Hunter may be looked at by some as like he didn't quite get there, but yet he's done everything we've asked him to do as a receiver. He's a full-time receiver. But if I polled right now, Ray, if he becomes somewhere between, he's just as good or better on the aggregate as these four guys, Jordan Addison, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle, a lot of people would say that's a bust. And it's just not fair for me to go, he's just going to produce better than all four of those guys have on their rookie contracts, because all of those guys are good. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel we lose it. Like, people start throwing around, man, I watched his film and he's just better than every receiver in the class. Like, he could be Jamar Chase. He could be Justin Jefferson. And then you get people running with it, and it's just like, feels like he could disappoint people, but he could be everything you wanted him to be at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally makes sense. Hopefully we get to see them play a little bit more. We get 2 more preseason games.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember, because when they made the switch, I feel like they play all the way through, but maybe the 3rd preseason game, teams don't play any of the starters. But hopefully we get a little more opportunity from him in that offense. ETN primarily running as the guy. Maybe they switch it up next week. I don't want to look too much into it, but this idea that ETN's not going to play because Tootin and Tank Bigsby are going to put him on the bench. He's going to play, Scott. He's going to get opportunity. He's going to play. We can argue about how good he'll be or how efficient it is, but ETN's going to be on the field, and he's an explosive running back, so he's going to play. It's not going to just be the Tank Bigsby and Michelle Tootin show in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of similar to some of these other backfields. Like, when the kick starts at the beginning of the year, ETN's probably going to be a starter, right? Brian Robinson's probably going to be the starter. But when somebody asks you, like, how do you value those guys? It's like, doesn't it feel like a lot of people just, and I think it might be for engagement, they will cast players like that completely off. And it's just, that's not what the transition looks like. If it's Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, he doesn't just start week 1. You know what I mean? It's a transition that probably happens over time. And you know what? I bet you at some point, ETN and Brian Robinson maybe do start to fade away a little bit. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen, but it doesn't look like they just get benched and they put this other guy in over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's the same with Ramondre Stevenson. Going to be the same thing with him. Whoever it is on the Cowboys, it's probably going to be Javonte or Miles before Jaden Blue gets 15 carries.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of backfields like this where you can draft these incumbents. It probably would have been Najee had he not had the eye thing. Same thing. So there is value in these guys. You just have to set your team up, whether that's best ball or dynasty. You have to set your team up to, like, use those guys. You know what I mean? I'm not banking on ETN being the starter in week 12. There's a lot that could happen between now and then where they've figured out a rotation and maybe he's been phased out or maybe they love him. But I'm not banking on him lasting the whole season. But I also have to be prepared, like, he's the starter. And then whenever that transition happens, it'll happen. But I think we get way over our skis going, oh, man, this guy's going to take over. You know, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's taken over. Just give it 6 weeks. Like, you'll hear people say that. And that's just not how it works.
No, I totally agree. I feel like we can't do a destination chill, Scott, without talking about your favorite position, the damn backup quarterbacks, the old backup QBs. And I
know where you're going with this. I know.
No, do you not? We have not talked about this. We're going to go a blast from the past that, listen, man, the things that score us fantasy points, my God, Scott, I'm seeing former coaches and all these analysts say it's about time he landed in an offense that can utilize his skill set. And we're already concerned because the offensive line is wrecked. We saw the quarterback get injured last year. Trey Lance, Scott Connor. Trey Lance, Scott Connor. We're talking any QB on the 2 deep, Scott.
We aren't. And there's a couple that I'll put in there with Trey Lance that I've been keeping my eye on.
Okay.
And one of them would have been Joe Milton, but I know you're off that Joe Milton train.
No, thank you.
Yesterday.
No, I wasn't really on the train. I was watching, but yes, no thank you with Joe Milton.
There's a few names, though, and Trey Lance is definitely one of them, where if he got in there, I'm not saying that he's worth anything, but if you had him, you feel a lot better. You looking on your bench and you see him sitting down there, right? You just do. You can see the story that goes right, and there's many other backups where I can't see the story. You brought up Green Bay earlier, Ray. Malik Willis is another one.
Malik Willis.
That if he got in there for an extended period of time, there would, I'm not saying they would be loud, but there would be some voices like, man, this guy's not that much worse than Jordan Love. Like, in this offense, he fits even better than Jordan Love for whatever reason. And we saw the 2 games last year, but even in the preseason, it's like, man, when Malik Willis came in, like, things looked better. And maybe that's just the personnel, the line, I don't know. And the other one that I think from all reports was having a terrible camp.
Stetson?
You know who I'm going to say?
Stetson?
Nope. Very similar situation, though. A guy that if he got in there, people would buy back in. They would bite the bait on the hook again.
Ooh, bite the bait on the hook.
And 2 weeks ago, the reports were he was doing all the same shit that he's done for 2 years. Come on, think. Most ironic for a sector of fantasy Twitter this year. Would just go nuclear if this happened.
Oh my gosh, Scott, who are we? Who is this?
I can see the world, and I don't want to wish long-term injuries.
We don't wish long-term injuries.
If it happened, I could see this guy coming in and putting up numbers for half a season as Sam Howell on Minnesota.
Sam Howell.
And people would be like, well, he sucks, but every other thing around him is good. And he can score points. You know what I mean? And then it would just be, people would break if it happened, because you'd be sitting there going, dude, Sam Howell just went for 303 tutties and ran for 50.
Yep.
Wait till McCarthy gets in there next year and does that. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. And we're talking Dynasty now, so I'm going to assume he's probably on waivers on a lot of Dynasty leagues, Scott.
Or someone's just holding him and they have no value assigned to him. He's just there.
Well, let me give you one much deeper that is available on waivers. And I really believe, because the backup quarterback stunk it up, and there's a lot of hype out of coming from the West Coast on this potential backup quarterback, Cam Miller from Las Vegas. I'm deep diving. Cam Miller, he is on waivers. You can get him for free. He looked pretty good. It's preseason. He's playing against 3s and 4s, but Aiden O'Connell did not look good. And you kind of know what O'Connell was last year. He's a veteran. He knows that. But Cam Miller, there's some enthusiasm and excitement for Cam Miller. And you're talking about a lot of things would have to happen. Geno Smith would have to go down. We knock on wood. But I'm just telling you, the noise around Cam Miller is very positive, that we want to see this guy get some. We're sick of Aiden. Nobody wants that Aiden O'Connell. We're sick of him. Get me that young, explosive Cam Miller. I want to put that name out there because he's probably available.
Well, what? So think about this, because there's going to be quarterback injuries. There are going to be backups that get in there, and we have to know, do you want to sell them? Do you want to use them? Et cetera. Forget about the talent. We can agree that most backup quarterbacks don't have the talent where you go, oh my God, this guy has a skill set I have to see. Now, if they can run, okay, fine. What usually attracts somebody to go, you know what? I kind of like that backup for this 2-week stretch where they're going to start. What is the first thing you look for?
Weapons, right?
The infrastructure and the weapons, right? Like, I don't care if Cam Miller's good or not. I can go, I like what I've seen from Las Vegas, and I like a couple of the weapons that he has. So let's put him in there and go, I'll take my chances. And just assuming if he's a backup in the NFL that he has reached a certain level of just functionality. That's not
Yes.
always true, but you have to assume he's earned the job. He's beat out a guy that started 20 games already in O'Connell. So it's like he's earned it right to be there. Same with like Tanner McKee. You may not even think he's good, but dude, he's on the Eagles.
Yeah.
And if you just put him in there for a game or two, they have enough around him that could elevate him to a top 15 week. You know what I mean? And those are the quarterback situations where it's not a talent evaluation at all. Like we've seen mobile quarterbacks go into situations where it's shitty.
Yes.
And you know what the mobile quarterback that has nothing around him can't do? Run. You remember Dorian Thompson-Robinson? He can run.
Yeah.
But it was so inept that he couldn't do anything else. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's where I'm sitting here looking at some of these good offenses and going like, I watched the Bengals preseason game. I'm not wish casting this, but from what I saw, I don't think Desmond Ridder and Jake Browning are that different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of situation where you go, if Desmond Ridder got to start, he ain't great, but I probably wouldn't rank him last on the week just because of the infrastructure that he has. So that's how you have to think about backup quarterbacks. Ain't nobody going to want to buy Brandon Allen if he's starting for the Titans.
No.
Doesn't matter if he's starting for 10 games.
No.
There'll be zero interest. So that's how those are not the quarterbacks on a 2 deep that I want. There's those situations that are just dire.
Have you seen less enthusiasm, or have you even heard about Cam Ward? Does anybody talk about Cam Ward? Does anybody want the number 1 overall pick? Like he had a very positive outing. It wasn't world beating. He only threw 8 passes, but me and Jay Rich talked about, like, nobody talks about Cam Ward at all.
Nope.
No, just kind of, he's just there. It's the strangest damn thing that Dart and Shadore and nobody is talking about Cam Ward, Scott. Nobody. And one of the biggest risers and beneficiaries to me, who I'm drafting a little higher, damn Calvin Ridley, because there's nobody else.
Okonkwo? He seemed like the other guy that's going to be out there all the time. I mean,
but I want Ridley. Like in that range, give me that Ridley. But no one's talking about Cam Ward at all. No Cam Ward talk.
Yeah, I mean, and it just sneaks up on you, right? Like you just don't see it unless you search it out. You don't. I certainly saw way more Trey Lance highlights on my timeline than Cam Ward. I mean, the Shadore versus Cam Ward talk is 20x in favor of Shadore. It's not even close. So it's just, and you know what, Ray? We don't have time to get into it tonight, but like that is an ADV argument that you can't put your finger on it. I agree. Titans organization. The Titans are one of those organizations that's like it's already not a huge market, but they've also done very little in their franchise history to like stand out at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I told you Tennessee Titans, what do you think of? What comes to mind when you hear Tennessee Titans? Derrick Henry, maybe?
Eddie George.
Steve McNair or Eddie George, and that was 25 years ago. So I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah, that's like, AJ Brown. I'm not thinking Gunnar Helm and Chig Okonkwo. I'm not. That's not. They're just kind of there.
Khalil Mullins, you pumped up for him?
You know what?
Get some run if Tajay's out. Phil Maffa or Khalil Mullins?
Oh, God.
Who would you bet on right now if you had to roster one?
Mullings. Hassan Haskins, probably. Give me Jim Harbaugh's guy, Hassan Haskins, out there in LA. Just that offense, Scott, it could be a good offense, and it's just very frustrating because Keenan Allen is going to factor in. They're probably going to use a smattering of running backs. It's just let's tie a bow on week 1 of preseason. I think first and foremost, we're all excited that football is back. So I think it's fine to react, Scott. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, it's just preseason. Don't have fun, enjoy it. It's fun to react. Just keep things in perspective because I think we'll get some more information throughout the practices this week. You hear all that stuff about Justin Fields all week, how awful he was in practice. And then you get to the game and what he did is exactly what you want him to do for fantasy. Run the ball. if Garrett Wilson ain't open, go run it. And that's what he did. And he scored you fantasy points. So it's kind of like when the lights come on, who gives a damn if that's what he's going to be given the opportunity to do. I'm excited to just see more in week 2. We got Kyler Murray played a lot. Bo Nix got to play a lot. Tua and Achane and the Dolphins played today. We didn't see anything from Caleb. We didn't see anything from the Dallas mainstays and the starters. But I'm excited for another week. It's back. I don't think there's a ton of actionable stuff to take away from, but there are definitely some things that I've filed away in the mental filing cabinet of what I want to pay attention to this week and kind of monitor in Dynasty.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that'll happen that won't matter at all. And then there's a lot of things that people will tell you are the deal breaker for what's going to happen. Just enjoy it. Watch things. Craft your own narratives. Don't listen to certain people because everybody's really just trying to pick a side with a little more clarity than they would have before they had any information at all.
Yes.
So even if you disagree with me or Ray or a take that you see, that's how I use preseason. I take information, even if it's just a smattering of one thing here, one thing there, and I go, you know what? I'm going to make a bet that I think this is the way that it's going to go, and I do that with a little more conviction or strength than I would have before, even if I'm wrong. Like we're sitting here going, man, we think it's going to be ETN and Bigsby. We could look up week 2, and it's Tootin's a league winner. But right now with this information, I can probably go do something maybe a little more actionable than I could have after last week. And then definitely week 2 is, I think, where you're going to get the most action from starters and from some, I think you can take away more stuff from this upcoming week. So just place your own bets. I mean, that's the fun of Dynasty. Everybody's super sharp. None of these performances or these highlight plays, they're not a mystery anymore. You know what I mean? Like everybody sees it within 30 minutes of it happening if you're not out and about doing something. So you're not getting an edge on somebody that didn't see something happen. So form your own narratives, make your own bets for your roster, and just understand what you're doing. You can still be wrong because a lot of what we're seeing is fake news. It's not real.
We had a little breaking news as we round out the show, Scott. Philadelphia Eagles 3-time Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson was carted off the practice field Sunday night with a leg injury, unable to put any weight on it. So literally and figuratively a big piece of that Philadelphia offensive line. And they're saying significant knee injury for Landon Dickerson, apparently. Thoughts on, again, we play a different game, but in the spirit of everybody's analyzing everything, immediate initial thoughts on this. I mean, you're not going to move Saquon down any. I don't know what the fantasy masses are going to spin this towards, but I just want your take on that. Another very important offensive line cog for Philadelphia, whose offense is supposed to be awesome, looks to be out.
Yeah, man, that's we've had quite a few bad injuries. Tristan Wirfs, and this, and Slater.
Tyler Guyton in Dallas is also out. So
yeah.
Monitor it, right?
It doesn't affect fantasy, but yeah, it's a thing where you just file in the back of your mind, like, I didn't need to see that. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll see.
Right. All right, Scott. Well, it was good getting back on the mic with you. Cash me out. Appreciate you. He's saying, Ray, I need some positive Cowboys talk before the end of the show. There's not a lot that I could say from the he said not the positive Cowboys news I was looking for, but I'll take it. I'll just say this one name because everyone has probably picked up Phil Maffa, and I guarantee you this running back is on waivers in every Dynasty league. Just Malik Davis out of Dallas. He looked real good, and I don't know why he didn't vibe with the Lash regime, but he looked pretty damn good. And after Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders and Jaden Blue, I'm just putting it out there. If he makes a 53, great, but he looked pretty good. Malik Davis looked pretty damn good for Dallas. So that's about all the positive news I can give you. The defensive line is still a mess. This is a team that I feel is going to play a lot like Cincinnati. Like the defense is probably not going to be that good, and it is going to fall on the arm and the shoulder of Dak Prescott to get it done for Dallas in 25. That's about all I got for you. Cash me out. Scott, anything you want to wrap up and say before we get out of here?
No, Malik Davis, it must cost Jerry a little money to get like new key cards to the facility, and Malik's was never deactivated, so they just brought him back in. Isn't it funny how guys like that come in and like we think it's like, why would you ever bring him back? You know what I mean? That's like yesterday's news. But there's something to be said about a guy that like knows the facility, knows all the people, can literally one day out can go and play in a preseason game, and he just knows the routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works. And you never know, dude.
Never
He
know.
could stick. He could be the fourth running back, and halfway through the year, you could be going, oh my God, he's playing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, it's a good offense. So like you have to at least, you know, it's like the Ravens, man. They sign Myles Gaskin and Dearness Johnson. Like they probably don't make the team. But if they do, we've seen crazier Ravens get in there and have a couple games. So anyway, Continue the fun. I'm loving this preseason. We'll be back in 2 weeks probably to wrap up the preseason.
2 weeks. We appreciate y'all. For all of you who are members to the channel, thank y'all. As you've seen this past week, anytime we record content on here and we could post it early for you to consume, we got you covered. Thank you for being supporters of this channel. And for those of you who catch it after we go live, we appreciate your support as well. Highly encourage you to consider joining and becoming a member. Scott and I are going to do a lot of stuff in season here on the channel. Dynasty Deal Show. Incredible. Enjoy football. Big T is saying great content and discussions like always. Appreciate you being here, Big T. Cash me out. Saw some other people, Zach in the building, Lawrence, Ty DeClaire in the building as well. Thank y'all. And until next time, we're out. Peace. Y'all know what it is, man. We love y'all. DD for life, all gas all the time. Y'all have a good evening. Make this week great. We'll see y'all on the channel. We out. Peace.